This Rise and Shine podcast series has been made possible by the generosity of the Zeidelman Family Foundation, which is committed to the unity and continuity of the Jewish people through meaningful and relevant Jewish education and wisdom.
The content of our thoughts and aspirations form our realities. And as it says in the Torah, I put before you today good and evil, blessings and curses. Choose life that you may live.
This is Rise and Shine, a podcast that offers timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations to fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note. Here is Adrienne Gold Davis.
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys something that happened to me many years ago that really freaked me out, and I never forgot it. It started as this throwaway party game, okay? Someone told the group of us that were standing there that there was supposedly this test to see if a person's a sociopath. So you're asked a particular question, and you're supposed to answer it. And if you get the correct answer to it, well, the sociopath's answer to it anyway, it means you're a sociopath. And I can remember the moment that question was posed to us, because we were all standing around drinking our cocktails and schmoozing. And till that very moment, I was feeling that rush of social joy and connection and being clever with my friends and so on. So when the question was posed, everything was still fun and lighthearted. But there was a problem. See, the problem was I immediately knew the answer, the sociopath answer. And I remember the person who was administering the test took this unconscious step back from me. He turned pale. Apparently, I was the only person he had ever asked this question to that got the correct answer. So now, I won't make you wait any longer. I'm going to pose it for all of you. It goes like this. A woman is at the funeral of her sister's husband. And across the grave, she spots a man that she has instant chemistry with. There's so much chemistry that the two of them lock eyes for the entire service, and they focus only on each other. But then, towards the end, the crowds end up sweeping them away, and they end up losing track and leaving the service separately. The following day, the woman murders her sister. Why? Why? So everybody suggests one of a few ideas, but the one that's the most common is this one. Okay, she found out that her sister was actually having an affair with this man that she'd fallen in love with at first sight, so she killed her sister to get her out of the way. Now, if you guessed that, or you answered this way, it seems you are normal and typical. You see, revenge, heartbreak, crimes of passion, we can tolerate this. This is the place most people's minds go to explain away such a heinous act. But I knew immediately it was something else, and I said it out loud. I said, no, she killed him because she wanted to see the man again, and she figured if he'd been at her brother-in-law's funeral, he might come back to her sister's funeral as well, and then she could connect with him again. I knew this sociopathic response right away, and it terrified me. And I went to my rabbi, and I asked him if he thought I needed treatment. If I was as sick and scary as you could tell this guy found me when I gave the right but wrong answer. My rabbi laughed at me. He said, if you were a sociopath, you wouldn't be worried that someone would think you were a sociopath. You wouldn't be sitting here crying. No, he said, you're just very intelligent and very intuitive. And you've used that intellect for the good instead of for the bad. It's a choice we all have to make. But I was still perplexed. Did that mean I was a good sociopath then? So, of course, I had to go online and find a definition of sociopathy at Healthline. And it said that the term sociopath refers to someone living with antisocial personality disorder, or they call it ASPD, as does the term psychopath, by the way. And the most recent edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which they call the DSM-5-TR, which mental health professionals use to diagnose mental health conditions, defines ASPD as a consistent disregard for rules and social norms and repeated violation of other people's rights. People with this condition, they say, might seem charming and charismatic at first, at least on the surface, but they generally find it difficult to understand other people's feelings. They often break rules or laws or behave aggressively or impulsively, and they feel little guilt for harm they cause others, and they use manipulation, deceit, and controlling behavior. Well, I thought, none of those apply to me. Well, except the last one. I can be a bit manipulative and controlling if I'm not keeping myself in check, but I have tremendous guilt, and I'm not particularly impulsive or aggressive, and I do like to keep the rules. So what did my rabbi mean when he said it was a choice we all have to make? Are we all potentially sociopathic? Do we decide for what we use our intelligence? In Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Fathers, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi would say, which is the right path for man to choose for himself? Whatever is harmonious for the one who does it and harmonious for other people. Harmony, it seems, is the goal. Peace. In other words, what we do with our intellect, with our talents, with our gifts and our inclinations, be they positive or negative, is up to us. It's a choice. You see, Judaism teaches us that all people have within them two conflicting urges. One is called the Yetzer Hara, means the inclination towards evil, and the Yetzer HaTov, the inclination towards the good. So a Rabbi Clinton of Ottawa wrote the following in describing how the great Torah commentator Shimshon Raphael Hirsch understood these choices. Here's what he said. The Hebrew word Yetzer doesn't mean inclination or instinct at all, but rather that which is formed. The one who forms, in this context, is our souls, our personalities, which are constantly and creatively envisioning plans and ideas. These plans, once they're imagined, can indeed tempt us to carry them out, but they are only of our creation. Good plans, which we weave in our minds, will tempt us to do good. Evil plans will tempt us to do evil, but it's all our own making, and it's all something within our power to direct. Now, obviously, I knew I'm not a sociopath, but I worried that the fact that I could think like one might make me deeply flawed. You see, there's nature and there's nurture. And the nurturing is not just what our parents do with us. It's also what we choose to do with ourselves, our thoughts, and ultimately our choice of behavior. This is one of the best reasons to study Torah, and that's to learn what is good and righteous behavior and what is not. That yes, we have freedom to choose the sort of path our lives will take, and the content of our thoughts and aspirations will perhaps form our realities. It's like that old Cherokee legend that I wrote about before. The boy who tells his grandfather that there's two wolves fighting inside of him. One wolf is bad, greedy, angry, violent, self-centered. The other wolf is gentle and compassionate and generous and kind. Which wolf will win, grandfather? He asks. Ah, my child, said the grandfather, whichever wolf you feed. So this week, can we examine which wolf we're feeding, which of our inclinations we're nurturing, and which stories we're telling ourselves? Because it's the small choices made repeatedly that deepen those neural pathways and create the path we will walk on in our lives. And as it says in the Torah, I put before you today good and evil, blessings and curses. Choose life that you may live.
Thanks for listening to Rise and Shine. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Momentum Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join Adrian again next time for more timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations that fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note.
This podcast was sponsored by the Zeidelman Family Foundation. Spread the wisdom. Inspire Jewish individuals around the globe by supporting Momentum's podcasts. To sponsor, contact podcast@momentumunlimited.org. You're listening to a Momentum podcast. For unlimited inspiration, wisdom, and empowerment, visit momentumunlimited.org.